Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle with John. We are here talking about part 2 of a video that we did recently on this amazing nod that Madison, Wisconsin received as a Biotech Corridor. It's a really big deal. You can go back and watch that first video. It's linked in the comments below, but go into the details about what that means and how that came to be and what that could mean for the city. But today we want to dive a little deeper into this topic, right? We want to talk about how, yes, Madison is a city that is set up for people to come in. That's sort of what we do here. We have, the events and the trails and the amenities and all of the things to offer, which is what, one of the biggest draws for people coming in, right?
Absolutely, it's the fastest growing city in Wisconsin.
Absolutely.
And we've set ourselves up that way to handle that. So we're excited about these opportunities of the biotech industry coming in and creating more growth here. That's what Madison is kind of designed itself for.
And that's actually a really, really important point, because that's not always the case in every single city.
No.
Not all cities are set up for this type of, we'll say, international stage, right?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's kind of, if you think about like towns that try to get into the Olympics or something like
exactly.
that,
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to be hosting any Olympics anytime soon, but we do need to prepare ourselves for the type of growth that we want to be. And certainly by being nominated for this Biotech Corridor, it shows that we've been thinking about growth, and certainly our outlying suburban communities have been preparing for that growth, and we've seen growth there. And then the city itself has been preparing itself for those types of industries to continue to move into our area. So it should be, we should be really ready for it.
Well, and we of course talk about real estate and community on this channel. So when we dive into this topic, we're gonna sort of zero in on those two things. So, the biggest thing that you hear about real estate right now everywhere is the interest rate and a lack of housing. So how is that going to work with this in Madison, you think?
Well, it's a very interesting piece of data. When you pull things out, sometimes the story isn't exactly what you're hearing on the news, right? Certainly inventory has been tight in most communities, and Madison is no different. However, in the month of October, we had listed more houses year over year. Looking at last year's October against this year's October, there was more houses listed this year by a few hundred, and there were less houses sold by a few hundred. So we're down about 8% in houses sold, and we're up by about 2% in houses listed. So the inventory in Madison and in the area of Dane County and South Central MLS is roughly up about 10%. Now, the days on market hasn't shown that transition yet, but if I were a betting man, I would probably guess that we are going to see some downward pressure in the market over the next couple months, which is somewhat indicative of what happens in this slower time, which between October and Christmas, you see some of that, right?
Exactly.
But we're comparing that data against last year's data at the same time. So it's not like we're comparing apples to oranges here. We are trying to keep those together. But that downward pressure with interest rates being about a little over 0.5% higher. They were actually 6.9% last year at this time. And now they're 7.62%.
Okay.
So that's going to put downward pressure on those buyers out there. I mean, obviously a $500,000 house at 6.9% is going to cost you quite a bit more at 7.62%.
Yeah.
So, how that will equate in November's actual numbers, it will be interesting to see, and we should, follow up with that. But I would expect to see a little bit of a depreciation against the previous October's numbers, the previous November's numbers. And just to give you an idea, last year, the median house price was $260,000 statewide. This year, it's $280,000 statewide. So we've gone up, that's roughly 5% year over year. And it'll be interesting to see where November's numbers actually shake out.
Yeah, and in Madison, of course, it's much higher.
Yes, it is. It's in the threes. And I don't have that data here today, but we'll look at that for November's number.
Yeah. And so I think the thing to realize then is that it is more expensive to get into a home, but the homes are there to get into. And then that's where working with a realtor and with like the lending teams that we utilize, they can really help you understand that there's a lot of current products on the market that can still get you into properties without, everything that you've got in the coffer.
One of the interesting things is, and the lending market right now, WIDA loans for first-time home buyers are roughly 6.6% with their incentives. So 6.6% is lower than it was last year at this time.
Exactly, and that's not, I don't think that's widely known.
No, so we're talking 1% reduction here just now. You have to have a median household income below $140,000.
Right.
And I believe, and we'll have to talk with the lenders specifically, but I believe it's for first-time home buyers. I'm not sure if it extends to others, but it's a fantastic program, and if you can qualify for the income limitations, it really gives you a fantastic break on your interest rate.
Yeah, that's really incredible, and that can make the difference between getting into a home or not getting into a home
Absolutely.
for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so any other stats you want to share about the biotech aspect? Because again, when a city is priming itself to bring in a major influx of people, there's a lot that happens, just like this, you know, the nod that it's received, that took years and years and years to get that, of course, lots and lots of planning.
Yeah, you know, I think one of the promising things here is that we are seeing a little bit more inventory, and as this biotech industry moves closer to getting into our community, hopefully we get some more stabilization of our inventory and we don't feel this massive pressure as it comes in. And I would say it's likely that we continue to see a little bit more inventory as interest rates have slowed the market down a bit. And so I do expect that we're going to have a bit slower economy on the real estate side, and I should help, you know, not have too many buyers in the market with not enough houses. And I'm hoping that we do see some softening a little bit, so that when that industry comes in, that it just doesn't get crazy again. I mean, what was it, you know, not too long ago, 16, 18 months ago, where we were seeing offers $100,000 over their asking price, and that got to be a pretty troubling market for those people who are just trying to, you know, move their home or come into the area.
Right, and that, I mean, it sounds like a good thing in a lot of ways, but sometimes it's not a good thing.
It's not, it can be a real challenge.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So, well, lots to look forward to actually, and of course we, you know, try to keep our finger on the pulse of things, and we try to bring that to you on the channel. You can always follow us on all the social channels. We're on there as well. But if you have questions that are specific to maybe what you want to do, just reach out to us. All of our contact below is right there. Our emails, our phone numbers, the whole entire team, the Living a Midwest Life team is there to help. And that's what we like to do, right?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you next time.